To kick off, I'd like to share a little information about the Mythic Worldview from Dennis Forrest's Search for Meaning. If someone truly lives within the Mythic Worldview, he or she is thrown into a myth with a compelling storyline in which he or she must follow. Not only do mythic thinkers follow myths, but they don't even know they're doing so. To question why they follow a myth, or even to question the meaning of life, is to be thrown out of the mythic worldview and state of mind. In other words, mythic thinkers blindly follow their narrative or myth. To get into my experience with the mythic worldview, I first have to share my background. I was born into this family you see on the screen. On one side, my father believes there's a higher power, based on the belief that the world couldn't be what it is today without a creator to aid in science. My mom, on the other hand, is a die-hard Catholic, who attends church weekly and is president of the Rosary Altar Society at my hometown church. This was largely a result of her parents being the same way when she was young, and their parents also, as far back in the line as I can remember. To get married in the Catholic Church, my dad had to agree that any kids they'd have in the future would be raised Catholic. So when my brother was born, followed by me 3 years later, we were both baptized. Growing up, we went to church with my mother, while Dad stayed home. I attended Sacred Heart Catholic Church from the time I was born until I came to college. Since then, I've been attending St. Thomas More Catholic Church, a university parish. I have always liked to think that I'm a very devout Catholic, but recently I've started debating this assumption. When we first started reading The Search for Meaning, the mythical worldview really hit home. One of the key tenets of the worldview is not questioning the meaning of life or the myth itself. In discussions, people discussed how they associated the worldview with Christianity, the religion is myth. I started thinking that maybe I wasn't a good Catholic. I questioned my religion every day. I didn't want to change it. I am and will remain Roman Catholic. Some things just didn't make sense to me. How could God be Jesus, the Father, but both at the same time? On top of questioning how the Holy Trinity could all be one person, I questioned how a priest could make bread and wine actually body and blood. In the Catholic Church, the bread and wine is body and blood. It's actually transformed into it, not just a symbol. Was questioning wrong? At first, it seemed like it to me. I shouldn't be questioning my faith. I should be totally endowed in it. Knowing what I learned from the Bible is right. Should I refrain from questioning? And how do I even do that? The answer is you can't do that. This is me on my confirmation day. Confirmation for a Catholic is the day someone personally says that he or she accepts God in the faith. It's the day that I got to distinguish that when my parents spoke for me at baptism and first communion was what I actually wanted.
Questioning my religion was a good thing. Flora discussed knowing about myth as being outside of myth, but having faith means one lives mythically. I don't have faith as Flora describes it. I can see how religion can become mythical, but I am far too critical of it to live in Flora's version of faith.
This is a picture of my fellow NHS officers along with myself. In this organization, I completed countless hours of community service. Realizing that I didn't live in a myth helped me to see that I don't do community service just because I'm supposed to be a Catholic. I do it because I want to help.
I don't blindly follow any myths because I can think for myself. I think critically about the myths I see myself following, like religion, pulling myself out of the worldview. Though learning about the mythic worldview made me question the way I ask questions, I will continue to do so.
I've also considered religion along with the archetypal psychology view. I thought about the famous phrase, what would Jesus do? I would associate Jesus with the archetypes of caregiver, the hero, and even the innocent. I don't always do what Jesus would do, nor do I strictly follow his archetypes. I'm allowed to be me, just Holly Renee Shively. Overall, I've learned that I don't have to fully follow one myth or archetype. I can have my own choices and decide which I might want to associate myself with, but I don't by any means have to identify with either worldview specifically. I look at Susan Laurie Park's book, Top Dog Underdog. I see Lincoln and Booth, brothers who together try to follow the American dream. If there's any myth I realize I follow, it's not the myth about religion, but the myth about the American dream. This is because I never considered college, but I never considered not going to college. It was an automatic thing that I just blindly signed up for. I chose where to go and what to go for, but I didn't choose to go. It was just hardwired into my head that it was the next step. Now that I'm here, I realize that I came to college for the reason of making money. I want to make money so someday I can buy a nice house and car, live comfortably, and support a family. All things associated with the American dream.
Though I know I'm living this myth, I still find myself stuck in it. Though I may inherently follow a myth or archetype, I don't let them control my life because they are not how I find meaning. I've decided to evaluate my life every so often, just to make sure I'm thinking critically and more importantly, making my own decisions, to avoid a life controlled by myth and archetype.